Well, hello. Today we're talking about estate planning. You know, you work hard all your life to save some money for the future. So if something happens before you spent it all, don't you want to be in control of what happens to your money? I'm Julie Kranitz. I'm a certified financial planner. I've got my Bachelor of Commerce from McGill University, and I'm president at Wealth Maximization Group. We provide you the best information on finance, retirement planning, building and protecting your wealth so that you can maximize your wealth to maximize your life. So let's talk about estate planning. What is it? How does it work? First of all, I got to give you a disclaimer. I am not a lawyer, never pretended to be a lawyer, don't want to be a lawyer. So I cannot talk about really too much about wills and power of attorneys. My job is more to review them and see if there's things that I think you might want to talk to your lawyer or about making changes about. So let's talk about the first and most important thing. It's having a will. Well, it consistently shocks me how many people do not have a will. Do you realize that if you don't have a will, in Ontario, only the first $200,000 goes to your spouse and then the balance is split within the family? Is that what you want? Don't you want to be in control of your destiny? You know, if you have kids under the age of 18, are you aware that if you don't have a will, your family members have to go and petition the court, often put up a whole bunch of money and jump through hoops and document every expense they have going forward because you did not take the time to do a proper will? It's ridiculous and so unfair to the family. And what about if you have kids over the age of 18? You know, if something happens to you prematurely, do you really want your kids to get a huge lump sum of money at the age of 18 and be able to go and blow it on a sports car and have regrets for the rest of their life that they blew the money? Because, you know, at age 18, we make, let's face it, different decisions than we do as we get older. So, you know, in my will, for example, sorry guys if you're listening, but you're going to get money at 25, 30, 35, maybe not what you want, but that's what's going to happen. So the other thing is, you know, you might want to talk about living wills. What do you want to happen if you are a vegetable and can't make decisions? Also important, and things that you should talk to your family about. Other things people kind of miss is, you know, have you addressed your social media accounts? So if something happens to you, you know, that your loved ones can actually get in and take down your site so they don't see things keep popping up from your social media account. Very, very challenging. And the other thing is, what about passwords for the computer? You know, we all have become more reliant on our computers. We pay our bills through there. If one partner dies and that's the partner who's paying the bills, does the other partner have the passwords to access the accounts? I mean, we can always figure it out, but they're going to be going through enough stress anyway. They don't want to have to worry about that at the time. So let's talk about a little bit about power of attorneys. There's two power of attorneys in Ontario, one for health and one for finance. So one will make your financial decisions and one will take care of your health decisions. But you know, sometimes if you do not have one for finance, the health person cannot buy the things you need to take care of your health. So really important that you have both of those documents done. And when you pick somebody, especially for your financial decisions, you need to make sure you trust them. But I have to tell you, so many wills I see are written like from a template that says, if I can't act, then my spouse can act. And if my spouse can act, then my kids can act. The problem is, if it says, if my spouse can't act, that means that somebody has to say that your spouse can't act. What does that mean? It means generally a doctor has to say that your spouse is incompetent. You know, as we get older, our health can wane. Well, even as we're younger, it can go up and down. Doctors do not want to put in writing that a person cannot make decisions and loses control of managing their own personal affairs. So it's very hard to get somebody, a doctor especially, to write saying you can't make decisions, which means that the next person who's in charge of being your power of attorney for finance cannot act because nobody said the first person can act. So if you really trust that person, the bottom line is name the two people as power of attorney. If you don't want them to have access to it, lock it away and they can only get it if something happens to you, make some arrangements with a third party if you want. The other idea is make sure you have a backup for your power of attorney for health and finance, because as we get older, when these things are more likely to come into effect, if something changes and that person you named passes or doesn't want to take responsibility for the job, you're at a state where you cannot issue new documents, and no, your executor cannot change it. Nobody can change it for you. So it's so important to get it done beforehand. Oh yes, and in your will, you name an executor. An executor needs to be able to make decisions and take care of all your financial affairs. It's quite a bit of work. Make sure you check with the person before you put them as your executor. So what's the other point we want to talk about when we're talking about estate planning? Well, one of the best ways to have amount of money that is going to pay out tax-free on your death and avoid probate charges, avoid the estate, be completely clean, is life insurance. If you wanted to learn more about life insurance, we have some life insurance videos right now. Term insurance, have a look at that one. Can you please comment for us below? Do you have a will? Is it updated? Is it something you need to look at? Do you have a power of attorney? Have you named the people as backups? All important things. So here's another thing that most people don't realize is named beneficiary. If you name a beneficiary, you should always actually name a beneficiary in your RSP or TFSA to avoid probate. But most people don't realize that if you did name a beneficiary in your RSP, all the money goes to the beneficiary, but your estate is left holding what? The tax bag. So let's say you have $100,000, but you have a big income, so you're in a 50% tax bracket. The $100,000 will go to your beneficiary, but the $50,000 tax bill, or $52,000, whatever tax bracket you're at, is going to have to be paid by the estate. Make sure you take that into account. When I see estates, often people don't realize how the RSP is settled. So sometimes they think they're giving things half and half to survivors, to beneficiaries, but it not necessarily is going to happen that way. And again, if you have non-registered money, you can't name a beneficiary unless it's a product through an insurance institution. So if you have bank accounts, GICs, non-registered or open, then just in your name, then they're going to get hit with probate. Takes a while to settle it out, get the government to release it and stuff. So just keep that in mind. And we talked about the RSP warning. So one of the last things I want to talk about for estate planning is make sure you talk to your family about your wishes. This is about distribution, about funeral arrangements, about do not resuscitate. You should have a living will. We also use something called an emergency card, which we give it to our clients and they keep it in their wallet saying, in case of an emergency, contact this person. And that goes hand in hand with an estate directory with all the names and phone numbers of who you should contact. You know, if your loved one becomes very ill or is an accident or passes away, you can't speak to them, and you may think you have their phone numbers, but they may be locked in the deceased's phone, or they may be sick and they can't reach them. So having a document where you have all this information can be really handy. So the action we want you to take, we want you to review your wills and your power of attorneys. Make sure you have an estate directory, an emergency card. If you like this video, please comment below. Give us some love. Tell us what you liked. Tell us if you like other topics. If you can subscribe, if you hit the bell, then you'll be notified of all our future videos. And if you'd like to become our client, check the link below. I'm Julie Kranitz, maximizing your wealth to maximize your life.